This lighting technique saves you a lot of time on set. Hello everybody, my name is Marco Bagnoli, I'm a cinematographer, and today I'm going to show you a lighting technique that is actually pretty easy to do, real essential on a lot of locations, and it will always look good. This is the first shot we are talking about, and the first thing you will notice, there's a guy sitting on a chair in a hallway. And now, how do I light a scene like this, or how do I shoot a scene like this? First, the most important thing is where do I place him? Because this is a hallway. We see a lot of real estate, and the difficulty is now, where do we put the light? One option would be to make a top light over in, just shining down. But is this actually the look that we want? No. The director wants always a feeling on the shoot when I want a strong side light, should be look half lit. So how do you create a look like this? The first trick is place him near an opening. I know that sounds stupid at the beginning, but hear me out. This is for a lot of people not obvious, that you build your scenery always around possibilities about light sources, because when you just want, the director somehow says, I want him to place in more here, or I want him to place him there, then you have to interfere as a cinematographer and tell him, I know you want him here, but you also want the commercial to look good, so it would be a lot easier if we put him here, because now we can light him without putting a light on the ceiling. Very fast setup time, because everyone can store their stuff in here and it's a lot easier for everyone. This is a scenario that happens way more often than you think, that the director is really fixed in the idea that the person has to be there because in the last scene he was here, so he should also be in the next scene here. Stay your ground, you're a cinematographer, you also are an expert on your field, so try to explain to the director that there are several reasons why we should do it like this, because when we are faster, we have more time for the upcoming shots and more time to work with the actors and overall get a better product at the end. Don't just stay somewhere and say nothing. You have a voice, use it. So, when we now have the luck to shoot through a door, how do we place the light? What light are we using? There are several ways, but the most common thing for me is simulate a window. This is a door, there's probably a window somewhere here, so our light source should have similar size. So I put here the biggest diffusion I possibly can, like in 6x6, and then I blast the light with a light dome, or when there's really not much space at all, just a 600D, or one of my favorite lights right now, Godox 600 carpet light, and just blast it on the other side, but in a bit of an angle, because the next problem is this wall. Because this wall is white and is bouncing the light back, it's really difficult to create contrast on a person, so that the light is not just coming straight back into his face. We try to shoot at an angle so that there's not so much bounce on the image. But don't forget to set the exposure first on the background before you put in your actor, because as you can see here in the background, there are a lot of light leaks, so they probably put in every door a lamp that just creates a little bit of texture in the background. And as you can see, we have some illogical light in the background, because why is light coming from here but on the other doors from this side? Because it looks good, and this is our job. This is the next shot, and same story as before. Now we're in a location where we don't see a window at all, the doors are closed, and what we had? A closer crop of the scenery. Then the scene would look like this, and if we analyze the shot, the light is clearly coming from the top, or a bit of a beauty dish feeling from 45-degree angle straight to his face. Could be something like an aperture lantern. It's really three-dimensional light. I like to use it a lot because somehow I think it gives a different look than a light dome, and sometimes having a different look than usual is nice. So we know we want to get a wider shot, but our actor needs a motivation, so we give the audience the motivation. Here we actually build everything around this top light. As you can see, in everything here is closed is closed. Normally there would probably be here a light or here a light, but the director and the cinematographer thought to themselves, no, we want a really isolated look that's like a spotlight, that everything focuses on this one person. And that's also a cool trick, that you try to manipulate your location. What I mean with this, okay, we want to place them here. There is actually no light source, so we rip the tile off the ceiling and put some lights here. And this is probably not even the light hitting him. This could be just the motivation. And they used some different lights to light in with maybe junior boom, like I said before, an aperture lantern to give him a little bit of key light. Then to enhance the look, remember to put a huge vignette in DaVinci to bring the exposure on the corners down to really focus on the main actor. Now we have this bedroom scene where this kid is somehow tucked into the pillows and the blanket and everything. What I like about this shot is the use of colors. I'm a big fan of a lot of colors, popping colors that just fills the sensor with joy. What I mean with that is sensors hate black and white. That's the most annoying thing for a sensor. It couldn't read it. It's boring for that. So if you want a saturated image, we need saturated objects in the picture. And they work in a great color palette. We have this green curtains, blue blankets, this blue chair with him, and a slightly blue wall, and also this warm practical with this little bit of warm floor. Here again, what is the motivation of the set? We have two possible motivations. First one is this lamp, second one is this window. Now we have to decide for which look we are going. Do we want a night shot or do we want a daylight shot that just feels like a little bit later at night, at the day? So they choose the window trick, and that's the reason why we have this white shot. That now that we know, okay, the main light source comes from here. The setting is now understand from the audience. So your lights should all come from this side. Now that we're going in for the close-up, you can see how nicely the light wraps around the scenery. When we go back to the wide shot, you can see that the light is actually a lot harder. Can see it at the nose shadow and everything else. The reason for it, when you're shooting at a wider angle, don't try to slide as soft as possible, because on a wider shot it's much more difficult to create depth. That's the reason you light a little bit harder. Then when you're going for the close-up, you can start to diffuse a light a little bit more or bring a bigger source, because the frame is now tighter and you can bring every light closer to the frame. And that's what I've done here. As you can see, I really like the look of this hard highlights just wrapping nicely around him. And also that they put a lot of blankets in the foreground to create more depth. They're not just him as the first layer, they put something even there. The only thing I don't understand why they didn't make this side darker. I think that would help a little bit, but maybe we created more depth, that they let this a bit more brighter, because we are on a darker skin color. We have already a darker layer. So that's, I think this is the reason why they choose to grade it like this. So if you enjoyed this video, I really would appreciate subscription from you. Mine is Marco Bagnoli. We do daily upload on this channel. So we'll see you next time.